confused. I have a Domenico Acosta on my, oh, it's the wrong Acosta?
Yes, ma'am. Still, yeah, go sit down right now. I think you guys
But before you go track down the other of Mr. Acosta, I need some information from the state and from the jail, because I'm told that the state has asked that I do an initial appearance on a case that the defendant is not booked in on.
Just go sit down.
That's what we just got an email saying for him to be seen on his docket number, but that's all we have.
Alright, so I guess my question is he held on CR 2024-3988?
No.
Okay, Mr. Goodman, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Judge.
So your office sent an email asking that Dominic Acosta be added to today's IAs for a case number that he's not booked in on. I don't know how I can do an initial appearance if he hasn't been arrested. Do you have any information?
Okay, so my understanding is, all right, it's a little loud over there. I can barely see through.
Yeah, sorry, jail staff, I know that you guys need to talk to each other, but right now I can't hear the attorney. All right, go ahead, Mr. Goodman.
Judge, it's my understanding he has a Superior Court warrant. I'm trying to look it up in my system right now, and it should be for arraignment. If
My problem is, even if he has a warrant, I don't think I can do an initial appearance if it hasn't been served. Can I?
I mean, to me, I would say, yeah. I mean, he would technically either need to be booked on it, seen by you, or technically Division TO, I think, would still have an ability to see him on it and address it, if that makes sense, Judge.
As a Superior Court warrant, yes. I think that TO could add it to their calendar tomorrow and call the case and quash the warrant and do what they need to do without him ever being booked on it. I don't think I can do anything, though, without him being booked on it.
And Judge, I'm going into our management system. It took a little bit. Can I have the CR number again?
CR 2024-3988.
Okay.
My inclination is to tell the jail, don't get him and let TO deal with this tomorrow, because he has an arraignment tomorrow on a different case. So
I believe it's the co-defendant who has an arraignment tomorrow on this case. I'm not aware. I mean, I would have to double check if he has a.
Let me tell you, the email I received is that Mr. Acosta is being held in the Pima County Jail, and he's going to be arraigned tomorrow on a case that ends in 3917. Then they asked to add him to the IA list for the case that ends in 3988. So I think he has an arraignment in TO on 2024-3917 tomorrow.
Yeah, I see that. I do see. Well, this is weird because I'm showing that there. Yeah, this is. If he wasn't booked in on it, I don't see how he can be seen tonight.
Okay.
On the warrant is my position.
All right, so jail, I do not need Dominic Acosta. I am not taking any action on CR 2024-3988. He has not been booked on the warrant, so I don't think I have authority to do an initial appearance. My understanding is he's held on a different case. He's going to be seen in Division TO at Superior Court on that case that he's held on tomorrow. The state can certainly ask TO to pull the 3988 file and have them deal with both tomorrow, but I'm not going to do anything on it today.
Okay, we had only put him on tonight's IA because we were asked to, but
Right.
thank you, Your Honor.
The county attorney's office asked that he be added, but I don't think that was the right. So I appreciate it, Jail. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Sir at the jail. Sir at the jail, what's your full name?
Jonathan Wayne Williams.
Let me find your paperwork here. Where did that go? There it is. All right, so sir, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court for failure to appear. The charges in that case are shoplifting and failure to appear. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. And you also have the right to be present at all future hearings. Sir, on this case, I'm going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. Your next court date is December 2nd at 8:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court before Judge Cornejo. If you're not there, a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions, sir?
No.
All right, good luck, sir.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Your Honor. This is the Spanish interpreter.
Do we,
May I be excused? There are no Spanish speakers on the list.
let me just confirm with the jail. Jail, there's no Spanish speakers?
No Spanish, don't have this, what can we?
All
He's
right,
here.
then the interpreter's excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
I should ask that at the beginning. I always forget. Hi, ma'am. What's your full name?
Jessica Sanchez.
Middle name Lauren?
Uh-huh.
You're here on several different things. First of all, you have a charge in Pima County Justice Court. It looks like the charges there are, no, wait a minute. Is this is actually a felony case? No. What? Pima County Justice Court.
This.
The paperwork I have, it's very confusing. All right, ma'am, it looks like you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court. The underlying charges are indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespass. I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. And you have the right to be present at all future hearings. Ma'am, on this case, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea. Like I said, I'm going to set bond at $250 secured. Ordering that you do not go back to the incident location and you follow all release conditions that were previously set. I'm appointing Caitlin Waters to be your attorney, and you'll get the name and phone number in your paperwork. On this case, you'll be seen tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon by Judge Wilson. If you're in custody, he'll see you by video. If you're out of custody, you need to appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Ma'am, you're
Consent, yeah. Yes, ma'am. I mean, Your Honor.
Then you also have a petition to revoke probation in Tucson City Court. The petition alleges that you were placed on unsupervised probation for 24 months beginning November 21 of 2023, and that you violated that probation because you failed to comply with your treatment agency and you failed to attend a review hearing. I'm going to enter a denial on that. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. You have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue, and you could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. I'm setting a hearing before Judge Blue on November 7th at 1:45 in the afternoon. And again, he'll see you by video if you're in custody. If you're not in custody, then you must appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. All right. Then, ma'am, you have a failure to appear warrant out of Tucson City Court. And it looks like the warrant issued after there was an order to show cause because you weren't in compliance with probation. That's on 3 cases. On all 3 of those cases, ma'am, I am going to release you on your own signature. I am ordering that you follow all conditions of probation, and I'm setting the same court date, which is November 7th at 1:45 in the afternoon with Judge Blue. If you're in custody, he'll see you by video, and if you're out of custody, then you need to be there or a warrant could issue. Then you have 3 new cases in Tucson City Court. You're charged with criminal trespass, and criminal trespass. On those cases, ma'am, I am entering a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the city public defender's office to represent you. On those cases, you have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. Because these are unadjudicated cases, you could also be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. On those cases, I'm setting bond in the amount of $250 secured. So you're going to have $500 out of Tucson City Court. It's $250 and $250. And then you're going to have $250 out of Justice Court. So the total bond is $350 secured. Ma'am, on the new city court cases, I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location on the trespass charges and that you follow all conditions of probation. And I'm setting the same court date, November 7th at 1:45 with Judge Blue at Tucson City Court. He will see you in person. You need to be there in person if you're out of custody. If you're in custody, he'll see you by video. I know that was a lot, ma'am. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates? No?
No, no, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good
Yeah.
luck, ma'am.
Good evening.
Hello.
I thought it was Esther Kelly tonight, Samiha, you didn't update that calendar.
I thought Stephen did. I don't know what happened.
And Judge, I'm sending an email to Division TO about that scenario right now.
Perfect, thank you. Hi, sir, what's your full name?
J. Reno Sandoval.
All right, sir, you are here because you've been charged with possession of a dangerous drug. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services is telling me that you are in the lowest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $1,000 bond. I will note that you are held on a significant bond on a different felony. Defense counsel, I'm inclined to set honestly, on this charge, probably $100 bond so that he's held getting credit for time served. Any objection?
No, Judge, thank you.
All right, so sir, on this case, I'm setting bond in the amount of $100 secured. If you post that, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and you must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. Your next court date on this is a preliminary hearing on November 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, that court date is very likely to change. So if you're released from custody before then, make sure you stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial so you know when your hearing is. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, and a smart hearing being set.
Oh, did you want to? I should have done that. I apologize. All right. Sir, also, it looks like you are eligible for Smart Court. Smart Court is a program where if you show up for court, you agree to do some outpatient treatment and you complete that outpatient treatment, you will get a better outcome than if you got convicted at trial or if you went through the normal process and got a normal plea offer. They might make you a better plea offer, or if you qualify, they might even offer you a diversion program that can result in dismissal. The key to that, though, sir, is that you have to be there for that first hearing or you lose the chance to do Smart Court. So that hearing is set November 6th at 9 a.m. and that hearing is not going to change. So if you're not in custody, make sure that you go to Superior Court November 6th at 9 a.m. If you're in custody, they'll transport you.
Okay,
All right. Good luck, sir.
thank you.
And thank you for catching that, Mr. Goodman. Oh, yeah, that's fine. He'll get it in his paperwork, right? Or she'll get it in her paperwork. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Just for the record, on Ms. Sanchez, I'm changing counsel to Janet Altschuler because she was previously appointed to represent her on the Justice Court case. So she'll be the counsel on the Justice Court case. Nothing else is changing, and the defendant will receive paperwork that has her lawyer's name and phone number in it.
That's all.
Your Honor, may I be briefly excused to the court handles misdemeanors?
I was under the impression Mr. Vance Ivy was next, and I think he's a felony.
Oh.
Am I wrong?
My apologies, you are right.
Yeah, I think you have one more felony and then you're excused while I do the misdemeanors.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, all right.
All right, sir, what's your full name?
James Anthony Vance Ivy.
All right, sir, you're here because you've been charged with shoplifting, over $1,000, shoplifting, using an artifice or committing 2 or more offenses within 5 years, and organized retail theft. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing Mark Resnick to represent you. Pretrial Services is telling me that you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. The state's asking for a $5,000 bond. I will note that you are currently being held on bond in 2 other cases, and the bond you're held on right now is a totals $15,000. Defense counsel?
Your Honor, given that Mr. Vance Ivy has not been able to post the $15,000 bond, on this matter, we would ask you to consider $8,000 bond for capital purposes.
All right. So I do need to consider the risk level, his risk level and the charges, but I also have to consider his ability to post bond. It seems clear that he's not able to post a significant bond. On these cases, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500 secured. Sir, if you post bond and you're released from custody, you are not to have any alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial, and do not go back to the incident location, which is in Albertsons on La Piñata. Your next court date on this is a preliminary hearing on November, I think it's the 12th. Make sure I got that right. Yep, November 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, that court date is very likely to change. If you're released from custody before then, please make sure you stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial so you know when your court date is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No.
All right, good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Around, all right. See?
Hi, what's your full name?
Jarrett Clay Allison.
All right, sir, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court on a charge of shoplifting. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. On this case, I'm going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. Your next court date is December 2nd at 8:30 in the morning at Pima County Justice Court with Judge Cornejo. You must appear for that hearing. If you're not there, a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions, sir?
Is there any way I could do like a Zoom?
If you contact the Justice Court and ask, they may have an ability to do that. I don't know, because I'm not a Justice Court judge.
Well, either way, I'll figure it out. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so make
You said,
sure-
could I get a copy of that?
You will get paperwork that has all this on it. And like I said, the phone number for the court is on there too. So if you can't get there in person, call and ask if you can appear by Zoom, okay?
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Good luck, sir. Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Eric Anton?
Is your middle name Cornelius?
Yes.
Sir, you're here on a couple different things. First of all, you have three, I thought it was four, nope, 3 warrants out of South Tucson City Court. Each of them alleges that you are charged with shoplifting, and one of them also has a criminal trespass charge. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing Michael Vaughn to represent you. On those cases, sir, I'm setting bond in the amount of $250 secured. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. Your next court date is tomorrow at 10 a.m. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, you need to appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. In addition, sir, you have 3 cases in Tucson City Court. You're charged with shoplifting, possession of drug paraphernalia, shoplifting, disorderly conduct, criminal damage, and failure to appear. On those cases, sir, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. You also have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. In addition, you could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you would also lose your right to appeal. Sir, on that case, I'm setting bond in the amount of $250 secured. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with any victims, do not go to the victim's residence or workplace, and do not return to the incident location. If you're in custody, your next court date will be November 8th at 1:45, and you'll be seen by video. If you are out of custody, sir, before then, your court date changes to December 2nd at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at Tucson City Court with Judge Verena. You must appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Sir, do you have any questions about your court dates or release conditions?
No.
All right, good luck, sir.
All right, thank you.
We'll go head back out there. So, that's about.
Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Omar Escobar.
All right, sir, you are here on a couple different things. Give me one moment. All right, so first of all, in Tucson City Court, sir, you have a new charges of assault, disorderly conduct, and criminal trespass. You also had a warrant for failure to appear on charges of assault. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I am appointing the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. Sir, on that case, you also have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could also be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. Sir, on that case, I'm setting bond in the amount of $1,000 secured. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with any victims, do not go to their residence or workplace, and do not go back to the incident location. If you're in custody, your next court date will be November 8th at 1:45 in the afternoon. And you'll be seen by video. If you are released from custody before then, your court date changes to December 3rd at 9:30 in the morning. That's at Tucson City Court, and that's with me. I'm Judge Surio. In addition, sir, you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court. On that case, it looks like you were charged with assault and disorderly conduct. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint Caitlin Waters to represent you on that case.
Omar Escobar have two more charges. Do you know what they're from? The other two?
Which two? The ones from Justice Court?
The one you just mentioned before and this one?
The assault and the disorderly conduct are from April of 2020. So on those charges, I'm entering a not guilty plea and I'm appointing Caitlin Waters to represent you. And I'm setting bond in the amount of $500 secured. I am going to order that you do not have any contact with the alleged victim and do not go to the victim's residence or workplace. And on those, your next court date is tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, you need to appear before Judge Wilson in Pima County Justice Court. If you're not there, a warrant could issue. All right. Do you still have questions?
Yeah, you know where this April date was at? With the address is at? Where I don't know where the date in April was.
I don't have any more information about that case, sir. All I have is the warrant. So, but when you see the judge in Justice Court tomorrow, they will have more information than just the warrant. What I have is a warrant that shows you didn't appear for court.
Do you know where it is? What?
When you failed to appear for court? So the Justice Court case, they're saying the offense happened in April of 2020, and it looks like the failure to appear warrant was issued September 5th of 24. The city court ones, you have part of the,
I don't know.
I do not know the addresses, sir.
I don't know if they're from them.
You want to know about the city court ones or the Justice Court ones? Sir, I'm not clear which ones you're asking me about. Are you talking about the assault and the disorderly conduct in Justice Court?
One was April and one was September 25th.
Are you September 25th?
It's in April.
I don't have anything from September 25th, sir. The city court cases, one's from March and one is from today.
Then there's one more in March.
Sir, you're going to get paperwork on this. Make sure you go to your court dates and talk to your attorneys and they can help you figure out what's going on, okay? Good luck, sir.
I don't know what she means.
Peterman.
You go outside, go sit back down there. Yeah.
Hi, sir. What's your full name?
James D. Peterman.
All right, Mr. Peterman, I have, let's see, cases both in justice court. In one is from today's date, and you're charged with interfering with judicial proceedings as a domestic violence offense. The other is actually also from today's date, and you're charged with interfering with judicial proceedings as a domestic violence offense. On both of those cases, I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I am going to appoint Adam Waters to represent you on that. Pretrial services is telling me that you are in the highest risk category for misdemeanor offenses. Give me one moment to finish reviewing all of the information they gave me. It looks like you have a disorderly conduct and assault domestic violence case already pending.
Yeah, can I talk? Can I just,
Do not, sir, anything you say can be used against you. So I strongly encourage you not to talk at this point. All right, sir, on these cases, I'm gonna set bond at $1,000 secured on each of the two new cases. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with Alicia Sue Fiel. Do not go to her residence or workplace, and you must follow all court orders. That includes orders of protection and injunctions against harassment. On this case, your next court date is tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at Justice Court with Judge Kendrick Wilson. You must appear for that hearing if you're out of custody or a warrant could issue. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. Sir, do you have any questions?
yes. So this morning, Alyssa, I'm standing at the residence.
Sir?
Yeah,
Sir, anything you say can be used against you. I encourage you not to talk about what happened. I am not going to change my release conditions at this time.
okay.
Do you have questions about what your release conditions are or when your court date is?
No,
All right, then good luck, sir.
So,
What time is the hearing tomorrow when they're held here? Yeah. Thank you. Hi, what's your full name?
Belinda Phelps.
Ma'am, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Justice Court on a charge of assault as a domestic violence offense. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I am going to appoint Janet Altstuhler to represent you. And her name and phone number will be in your paperwork. Ma'am, on this case, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $500 secured. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with the alleged victim, do not go to the victim's residence or workplace, and do not commit any acts of domestic violence. Your next court date will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant would issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
Yes, ma'am. So, I had a court case on August 9th, so I'm trying to figure out where this warrant came from.
I don't have that information, but tomorrow you're gonna see the judge in the court that your case is pending in, and they will have a lot more information. All I have is the
Okay.
warrant, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, good luck, ma'am.
it's over.
Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Brian Allen Zard.
All right, sir, you are here because you have 2 charges of interfering with a judicial proceeding as a domestic violence offense. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. Give me 1 moment to finish reviewing all of your paperwork on this one. All right, sir, on this case, I am going to set bond in the amount of $500 secured. I'm ordering that if you post that, you shall not commit any acts of domestic violence, do not have any contact whatsoever with Grace Zard, and do not go to her workplace or residence. You must follow all court orders. And for the record, pretrial is telling me he's in the lowest risk category, but I'm concerned about the violation of a court order. Sir, on this case, your next court date is tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, you must appear for that hearing, or a warrant can issue. I'm going to appoint Caitlin Waters to represent you. Her name and phone number will be in your paperwork. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you. Garcia.
Hi, what's your full name?
Sonia Ramirez. I know the paperwork says Garcia, but that is not my last name. It's Ramirez.
All right, you're Sonia Teresa Ramirez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the paperwork does show Garcia. I'll show for the record that you're the person we're talking about. All right, ma'am, you are here because you've been charged with assault, disorderly conduct, and disorderly conduct. They are all domestic violence offenses. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. Ma'am, on these charges, I am going to release you on your own signature. I'm ordering that you do not commit any acts of domestic violence, do not have any contact with the alleged victims, do not go to their residence or workplace. If you have belongings there, you can go back 1 time with the police to get those. That means you can take my order to a police station in that area, and they'll go with you to get your things. Your next court date on this is December 5th at 9 o'clock in the morning at Tucson City Court with Judge Cranshaw. You must appear for that hearing. If you're not there, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. If you didn't appear, you could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. You do have the right to be present at all hearings. Ma'am, do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
Yeah, the address is my house. That's my residence.
You're gonna have to stay somewhere else, ma'am.
Until the court date?
You can certainly ask the court, you can file a motion and ask the court to change it. But until a judge changes it, yes, ma'am. All right, good luck, ma'am.
Come up here. Mr. Anderson, no, you're here. Yeah, yes, sir. Can you go ahead and sit down right here? This gentleman's gonna be your attorney. Okay, all right?
Is the state making any recommendation on Enders?
No, it's an out-of-county warrant, Judge, but I would note the,
I'm not there yet. I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing paperwork. I don't have one. I'm just guessing it's because it's out of county and you're not taking a position, but I just wanted to confirm. All right. Sir, what's your full name?
Christopher Dell Enders.
All right. Counsel, do you waive reading?
Certainly, Judge.
right, so sir, you're here on a warrant out of Navajo County. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm going to have to figure out who that attorney is. Pretrial services is telling me that you are in the lowest risk level for a violent felony offense. Give me 1 minute to finish reviewing all of the paperwork that I have. The warrant lists a $100,000 bond amount. I see that you have no felony criminal history.
So,
Your Honor, I'm not making a recommendation. I would just note he was uncooperative and he's got ties to California.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I've reviewed everything and I have all the right information here. Okay, defense counsel, did you want to be heard on release conditions?
Yes, please, Judge. I think the court has already noted that Mr. Andrews has no failures to appear in the last 2 years. I just quickly looked at the public access. I just show search warrant records from Show Low Justice Court, although it seems like this warrant was not made public. It's probably still not unlocked on public access. I understand it's a $100,000 bond, but the court correctly noted Mr. Andrews has no criminal history whatsoever. For those reasons, Judge, we are asking you to consider giving him one more chance to set a report on that. Thank you.
All right, given the nature of the charges and the fact that the court that issued the warrant has certainly had more information than I have, I am going to honor the bond amount on the warrant. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $100,000 secured. You can certainly ask the judge in Navajo County to change that, but that's what I'm setting for now. Sir, if you do post that bond, you're released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. I'm ordering that you do not have any contact with any alleged victims and do not go to their residence or workplace. I'm also ordering no unsupervised contact with minors. That means you cannot be alone with anyone under the age of 18. I'm appointing the Navajo County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and their phone number will be in your paperwork. Your next court date on this is November 28th at 9 a.m. However, sir, that court date is here in Pima County to check and make sure that Navajo picked you up. So if Navajo picks you up before that court date will go away and Navajo County will set their own court date up there. If you're still here that day, then you'll be seen to figure out why and what should happen next. Sir, I strongly encourage you not to talk about the charges in any way, but do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
am I gonna be released?
You're not going to be released, sir, unless you post the bond, at least until you see a judge in Navajo County. Good luck, sir.
Sir, this is for you. Good luck. You will be okay.
Okay, the next person does what?
Yeah, oh, this one. Okay, I see.
Mr. Goodman, on the next one, it's a warrant. If you have any facts that you can share, I would appreciate it.
Your Honor, I've got a lot of facts, so I'm just going to do my best to be very brief in light of, having the interpreter.
Okay, I appreciate it. All right, so for the record, we do have an interpreter present. And sir, I'm going to ask you to start interpreting now.
Tuko na mukasiria.
Sir, what is your full name?
Majina yako yote?
Hodari Nzoisenga.
Hodari Nzoisenga.
All right, sir, you're here because you have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court.
Uko hapa kwa sababu kulitolewa makaratasi ya kukushika.
The charges are stalking as a domestic violence offense.
Shtaka moja ni kwa shtaka la kunyonga mtu na hilo ni shtaka la vurugu ya nyumbani.
Aggravated domestic violence.
Shtaka la kushambulia mtu au kupiga mtu vikali.
And 2 counts of aggravated harassment.
Na mashtaka mawili ya unyanyasaji.
I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you.
Kwa sasa nitasema ya kwamba haya mashtaka haujakutwa nayo.
You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney.
Uko na haki ya kukaa kimya na haki ya kupata wakili wa kukusimamia.
I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you.
Unapewa wakili kutoka kwa kaunti, serikali ya kaunti ya Pima wa kukusimamia.
The bond amount on the warrant is $50,000.
Dhamana iliyowekwa ni 50,000.
Pretrial services tells me that you are in the lowest risk category for violent felony offenses.
Watu wanaochunguza watu wanaoshtakiwa wakiwa nje wanasema ya kwamba hauna hatari kwa ajili ya mashtaka uliyofanya.
The state is asking for a $50,000 bond.
Serikali inaitisha uweke dhamana ya 50,000, pesa 50,000 ili uweze kuachiliwa.
I'm going to ask the defense counsel there to give me their position next.
Kwa sasa wakili ambaye anayekusimamia au amekaa na wewe anaenda kuulizwa msimamo wake.
Thank you, Judge.
Were you asking for me, Judge, or?
Oh, sorry. I skipped Mr. Goodman by accident.
Kwa sasa wakili wa serikali ndo anaenda kuulizwa.
I'm going to have Mr. Goodman tell me his input and then I'll have your attorney speak, sir.
Wakili wa serikali Bwana Goodman ndo anaenda kuongea, baadaye wakili anayekusimamia naye ataongea.
Your Honor, we're asking for the warrant amount. It appears on the date of offenses per the pretrial report, he is on misdemeanor DV probation involving the same victim.
Serikali naomba hiyo pesa isalie hapo hapo kwa sababu wakati ulipofanya hili shtaka ulikuwa kuna shtaka lingine ulihukumiwa na ulikuwa umehukumiwa probation na hujaimaliza kisha ukafanya haya mashtaka mengine.
Your Honor, there's numerous incidences where during one of them she had to go to the hospital to get a certain type of kit, if you know what I'm referring to, Judge.
Kuna mashtaka kadhaa uliyofanyia huyu muathirika na kuna shtaka moja lilisababisha aende hospitali kukaguliwa au kuchunguzwa.
I do.
There's numerous incidences where he's violent with her.
Kuna njia tofauti au namna nyingi ulivyokuwa unamufanyia unyanyasaji.
He continuously calls her and also threatens her.
Kisha pia ulikuwa unaendelea kumupigia na kumupigia simu na kumutishia.
And Your Honor, JP Port's warrants issue for a reason. As you'll see in the pretrial services report, he wouldn't even give them his address where he's at.
Pia watu ambao wanatakiwa kukuchunguza ukiwa nje haukuwapatia anwani yako ama adresi yako, uliwaficha.
So I'll leave the court with that very brief input. I felt a general overview of the allegations was appropriate for judicial efficiency this evening.
Wakili wa serikali atamalizia hapa, hataongea mengi. Ameshaelezea mahakama uzito wa mashtaka haya anayokukabidhi.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. I'm going to hear from defense counsel next.
Asante Bwana Goodman. Kwa sasa wanaenda kusikiliza wakili anayesimamia mshtakiwa.
Thank you, Judge. Just looking at the nature of the charges, Judge, it's not so clear if any physical injury was inflicted on the victim in this case.
Kuangalia mashtaka yaliyofanywa, inaonekana ya kwamba muathirika hakupata ajali yoyote au maumivu yoyote.
And again, Judge, I concede the state has a lot more information, but I'm just looking at the charges in the warrant.
Ndiyo, naona serikali iko na taarifa mingi, lakini mimi naangalia kwa karatasi zilizotolewa za kushika huyu mteja wangu.
Your Honor, while it is true that pretrial services does show Hodari may be on probation, but he has an excellent record of showing up to court.
Japokuwa probation wanasema ya kwamba huyu Hodari alikuwa amechunguzwa, alikuwa amewekwa kwa probation, lakini inaonekana alikuwa anafika mahakamani mara mingi.
He has no previous felony convictions or failures to appear.
Hakuna shtaka lingine la jinai ulishawahi kutwa nalo na haujawahi kosa kufika mahakamani kwa njia nyingine.
Your Honor, and I don't know if he was having an issue with having things interpreted while talking to. I'm sure they asked for an interpreter, but there may have been a language barrier, which is why he may not have understood certain questions about providing his address and whatnot.
Inaweza ikawezekana labda kulikuwa na tatizo la kuongea ama la lugha, ndo sababu labda hakuweza kutoa taarifa yoyote inayostahika kama kutoa anwani yake.
So for those reasons, Judge, we are asking one chance on pretrial services, but if you are not inclined, pay $5,000.
Kwa hivyo tunaomba ili iweze kumwachilia chunguzi akiwa nje. Kama utafanya hilo, pengine upunguze hiyo dhamana iweke kwa $5,000.
The defendant appears to be a low risk for failure to appear.
Huyu mshtakiwa amekuwa sio hatari kwa yeye kukosa kufika mahakamani.
However, I'm seriously concerned about the safety of the victim.
Lakini pia usalama wa muathirika lazima utiliwe maanani.
Primarily because the defendant is charged with committing acts of domestic violence in violation of an order of protection and while on probation for a domestic violence offense.
Kwa sababu huyu mshtakiwa alifanya kosa la vurugu la nyumbani wakati alikuwa kwa probation, na hilo ni kinyume na kanuni za kukua kwa probation.
For those reasons, I find the bond listed on the warrant is appropriate.
Kwa hivyo imeamuriwa ya kwamba dhamana iliyowekwa ni sahihi.
I'm going to set bond in the amount of $50,000 secured.
Kwa hivyo dhamana itaendelea kukua $50,000.
Sir, if you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services.
Ukiweza kutoa hiyo pesa uilipe, utachunguzwa ukiwa nje.
You are not to have any alcohol, illegal drugs, firearms, or weapons.
Ikitokea umeachiliwa, hauruhusiwi kutumia pombe, kumiliki silaha au kitu kingine chochote kinaweza kikaumiza mtu.
Do not commit any acts of domestic violence.
Utakuwa umekatazwa kufanya kosa lingine lolote la vurugu la nyumbani.
You must submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services.
Lazima uchunguzwe na ufuate kila kitu utaelezewa na watu wanaokuchunguza ukiwa nje.
You are not allowed to have any contact whatsoever with the listed victim in this case.
Hautaruhusiwa kamwe kwa njia yoyote kuongea au kuwasiliana na muathirika.
Do not go to her residence or workplace.
Hautakuwa umeruhusiwa kwenda mahali anapoishi ama mahali anapotumika.
Also ordering that you follow all court orders, including orders of protection and injunctions against harassment.
Imeamuriwa ufuate amri zote za mahakama ikiwa ni amri ya ulinzi dhidi yako zitakazotolewa.
Your next court date is November 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Tarehe yako ya kufika mahakamani ni tarehe 12 mwezi wa 11 saa 7:30.
That court date may change.
Hiyo tarehe inaweza ikabadilishwa.
If you're released from custody, please stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services so you know when your hearing is.
Ikitokea umeachiliwa, lazima uwasiliane na wakili wako na wale watakao wanakuchunguza ukiwa nje ili ujue mabadiliko ya tarehe yako ya kufika mahakamani.
If you miss court, you will get a warrant.
Usipofika mahakamani kama umeachiliwa, amri za kukushika zitatolewa.
Sir, anything you say can be used against you, so please don't talk about the charges.
Usiongelee kuhusu haya mashtaka kwa sababu kila kitu utakachosema kinaweza kikatumika kwa ajili ya kukushtaki.
But do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
Baada ya hayo, je, una swali kuhusu masharti ya kuachiliwa au tarehe yako ya kufika mahakamani?
I think he has questions for me, Judge, but we don't have the facility to talk privately.
Right. All right. So, sir, you do have an attorney who will visit you soon.
Umepewa wakili ambaye atakaye kuja kukuona hapo huko ndani, atakuja kukutembelea na muongee.
You should ask that person if you have questions for your attorney.
Huo ndio mtu utakayeuliza maswali au utakayeongelesha maswali yako.
Good luck, sir.
Kila la heri.
Thank you to the interpreter.
May the interpreter be excused?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Christian.
Hi, what's your full name?
Josephine Cañas.
All right. Ma'am, you're here on several different things. First of all, you have new felony charges of organized retail theft, and shoplifting. I will enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. The state is asking that I set bond in the amount of $5,000. Defense counsel?
Your Honor, the crimes Ms. Inez is being charged with, the property crimes that does. Your Honor, I believe the last conviction, the last prior felony conviction is from 2018. We understand the scales are maxed out, but we're asking for one more chance on pretrial services. But if you have another client, $8,000. Thank you.
All right, so given her risk level and the fact that I'm about to see her on a whole bunch of warrants for misdemeanor shoplifting charges, and failures to appear, I do think $5,000 is appropriate. So I'm setting bond in the amount of $5,000 on this case. Ma'am, if you post bond, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit that's directed by pretrial services. I'm going to order that you do not go to any Walgreens stores at all while your case is pending. On this case, your next hearing court date is November 12th. And that is at 1:30 in the afternoon. However, that court date is likely to change. So if you're released from custody, please stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services so that you know when your next court date is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. All right, ma'am, you have 2 warrants out of Pima County Justice Court. Both cases involve shoplifting charges and failure to appear. On both of those, I'll enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I am going to appoint, I think Adam Waters was next on the list. Adam Waters to represent you. And on each of those cases, I'm setting bond in the amount of $100 secured. And I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location. So wherever it is that they say you shoplifted. Your next court date on that case is, those 2 cases is tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at Pima County Justice Court with Judge Wilson. If you're in custody, you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, you must appear for that hearing or a warrant could issue. Give me one moment. In Tucson City Court, ma'am, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases pending. The charges are criminal trespass and failure to appear, shoplifting, possession of drug paraphernalia and failure to appear, shoplifting, shoplifting and criminal trespass, and criminal trespass, possession of drug paraphernalia, shoplifting, and failure to appear. On those cases, ma'am, you do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. You also have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. And if you couldn't be, and then if you failed to appear, you could be tried and convicted in your absence. If you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, then you could lose your right to appeal. On the city court cases, I'm setting bond in the amount of $500 secured, and I am ordering that you do not go back to any of the incident locations. Your next court date on that, if you're in custody, will be November 8th at 1:45 in the afternoon. If you're released from custody before then, your court date changes to November 27th at 9 a.m. at Tucson City Court with Judge Hale. If you're not present, a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions, ma'am?
No.
Good luck, ma'am. Sir, what's your full name?
Your Honor, to Stephen Albert Esparza.
All right, sir, you're here on several different things. First of all, you have new felony charges of possession of dangerous drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services is telling me that you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $1,000 bond. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, I talked to Mr. Esparza before court. He is unable to afford any bond today. Your Honor, these are victimless offenses, and the alleged quantity involved isn't significantly high. He's asking for one chance on pretrial services supervision and also to effectively participate in Smart Court, which the state is also recommending. I've talked to him about the program. So we are asking for pretrial services release today, Judge. Thank you.
He's been failing to appear since 2019 for the IJP. I have some concerns with his ability to show up. I'm fine with a minimal bond to secure his appearance, but I have a feeling he's going to fail to appear if that's not imposed.
Sir, anything you say can be used against you. I encourage you not to speak. I really hate holding someone in custody on simple possession charges. But you are literally at the highest risk there is for committing a new offense and failing to appear. And I have a stack of failures to appear in city court that I'm about to see you on. I'm going to set bond on the felony in the amount of $500 secured. If you post that, you're released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. Your next court date on this one is November 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, that court date is very likely to change. So if you're released from custody, you'll need to stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services so you know when your court dates are and you don't miss any. Sir, you are eligible for Smart Court. Smart Court is a program where they offer people an opportunity to do outpatient treatment in exchange for a better outcome on their case. Depending on your situation, that might mean you get a better plea offer. It might even mean that you could earn a dismissal by completing diversion. I don't know if you qualify for that or not. But sir, you will lose that opportunity completely if you miss the next court date, which I'm about to set, which is November 6th at 9 a.m. at Pima County Superior Court. If you're in custody, they will bring you to that hearing. But if you're out of custody, sir, you must appear for that hearing or you'll lose the opportunity to participate in Smart Court.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, in Tucson City Court, you are here because you have warrants for failure to appear on charges of interfering with judicial proceedings, failure to appear, disorderly conduct, threatening, failure to appear, unlawful acts in restrooms and failure to appear, and being in a park after hours and failure to appear, and 2 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia, criminal trespass, and another failure to appear. These cases are from 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2024. Unfortunately, looks like you have literally never come to court out of custody on these cases. On these cases, sir, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $500 secured. So your total bond is $1,000. I am going to order that you do not go back to the incident location. And that you follow all court orders that were all release conditions previously set. Sir, I am going to enter a not guilty plea and appoint the public defender's office to represent you. On these, you have the right to remain silent, the right to an attorney. You also have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear on these, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a separate criminal offense. You could also be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. Sir, on these cases, your next court date, if you're in custody, will be November 8th at 1:45, and you'll be seen by video. If you're released before then, your city court date changes to November 27th at 9 a.m. at Tucson City Court with Judge Hale. You must appear for that hearing or a warrant will issue. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates, sir?
Only that, those charges are not, I did not, all that with the bathrooms and all that, but anyway, that's, Your Honor, that's all I have to say.
All right.
So, I'm sorry, I'm homeless.
All right. All right, sir, good luck. Make sure you get to your court dates.
Your Honor, this is Sergeant Randall over at the jail. Is it possible to jump ahead to Sturzik, Jason, the last one on the list?
Sure.
Have a seat in the chair there. You can stay awake for the judge, okay?
Hi, sir, what's your full name?
Jason Sturzik.
All right, sir, you're here on a couple different things as well. First of all, you have new charges of possession of a narcotic drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. You also have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court on charges of possession of a narcotic drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. The state is asking for a $2,500 bond on the new charges and a $5,000 bond on the older charges. Again, pretrial services test telling me that you are in the highest risk level there is for nonviolent felony offenses. And for the record, Mr. Sturzik appears to be struggling to stay awake and upright. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, I understand the state can ask the court to hold him without bond. They're offering a bond. So we want to thank the state for it. I understand he's maxed out on the scales, but given his financial circumstances, Judge, we just asked for nominal bonds on all matters if you have any kind of concern. Thank you.
And Judge, as you're aware, only the new arrest would get a smart hearing date.
Right. All right, so make sure I've got the right ones open here. So this is the all right, so here's what I'm gonna do. On the new charges, I'm gonna set bond in the amount of $1,000 secured. And on the old charge, I'm gonna set bond in the amount of $2,500 secured. For a total of $3,500. Again, that's based on the fact that he just won't come to court. It looks like he's been released on the old case multiple times to pretrial and has never contacted them or come to court. Sir, if you post bond, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. On the new case, the preliminary hearing is set on November 12th at 1:30. I'm setting a smart court date on November 6th at 9 a.m. I don't believe explaining that to him right now is going to do anyone any good, but he will get that court date in his paperwork. On the older case, the and I believe that's everything on these. Thank you.
Wake up, stand up. It's yours. Good luck, okay? Hold on to this for me, please.
Patrick, what do you got?
Patrick.
Sir, what's your full name?
Patrick Thomas Keith.
All right, sir, you're here because you have new charges of possession of a narcotic drug. The state is moving to dismiss the case without prejudice. So based on the state's motion, the case is dismissed. Sir, I need you to understand that the case very well may come back. If they dismiss it today, they have 7 years to charge you with a felony. My guess is that they're waiting on some test results or something. But if they decide to recharge it, they are likely to mail you a summons. If you don't get that summons and you don't come to court, then a warrant will issue. So it's very important that you check your mail, and that you forward your mail with the post office, if you move. And you are released on this case.
Looks like he's being held for a FTA for a CMC in Superior Court, Judge.
That's my understanding. So, sir, I don't think you're actually getting out today. I think you're going to see a different judge before you get released. But this case is dismissed.
Anyway, the next court date be.
You're getting a Superior Court, probably this week or next week. The new case is dismissed.
Gotta go. No, sorry for that.
All right. What's your full name?
Vanessa Marie Madigan.
All right, ma'am, you are here because you're charged with possession of a narcotic drug, possession of a dangerous drug, and possession of a narcotic drug for sale. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. I am appointing, you have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the legal defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services again tells me that you are in the highest risk category for nonviolent felony offenses. The state is asking for a $10,000 bond. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, I did look into the case that pretrial services notes she's on probation for. My understanding is that Judge Hanson gave her a 90-day time served sentence at the disposition hearing. So my understanding is that she is no longer on probation, but I'll let the state chime in if things have changed since. But Your Honor, given that she is no longer on probation, we are asking you to consider releasing her to pretrial services, and I don't think the state is offering smart court anymore. But I may be, I haven't looked. So if the state's offering smart court, Judge, we ask for a smart state and release to pretrial. She's not able to post a $10,000 bond, so that is what we're asking. Thank you.
This is a sales case, so it wouldn't go to smart court. And per the pretrial report, she was continued on probation with some initial jail, and it shows her scheduled termination date is August of 2025.
No,
So-
All right.
So regardless, sorry, Judge, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Regardless, she admitted to selling, Judge. So this is definitely not a smart court matter.
No, it's definitely not a smart court case.
Judge, and if I may, I'm sorry, I know I've already spoken, but I am looking at the minute entry from Superior Court on the CR that ends in 543. Judge Ham, please.
I just pulled that up myself. Give me one moment. It says the defendant be continued on probation and ordered to serve 90 days in jail with credit for 27 upon completion of the jail term. probation shall terminate upon completion of the jail sentence. So pretrial services was incorrect. Her probation has been terminated on that case.
My recommendation wouldn't change, Judge. She's out there selling fentanyl
I
in the
understand.
community.
All right, so, but I want to make sure that I'm making a decision based on accurate information. So for the record, I'm not considering the fact that she's on probation. However, I am going to consider her criminal history and the risk assessment. And again, she's in the highest category on both failure to appear and new criminal offenses. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $7,500 secured. Ma'am, if you post that, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that is directed by pretrial services. I'm also going to order that you don't go back to the incident location, which I believe was a boot barn. Your next court date on this, ma'am, is November 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing and it's very likely to change. So if you're released from custody, please stay in touch with pretrial and with your attorney so you know when your court date is. If you miss it, you will get a warrant. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court date?
No.
Good luck, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, sir, what's your full name?
Hunter Blake Shepherd.
All right, sir, you are here because you're charged with aggravated assault, criminal damage, and endangerment. I am going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You do have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. Appointing the public defender's office to represent you. I am relieved to see that you are in the lowest risk level for violent felony offenses. It seems like tonight I've had an abnormal number of people in the high risk category. The state is asking for a $50,000 bond and pretrial services release. Defense counsel.
Your Honor, we understand that these are serious charges, but the court should note Mr. Shepherd does not have any failure to appear history. The court correctly noted he is in the lowest condition, in the low risk category. Your Honor, he's only 22 years old. His mother can provide third-party custody and transport. Mr. Shepherd is also employed. And Your Honor, there is some indication that there was a need for mental health screening in the pretrial services report, and there seems to be an indication that a Title 36 petition would also be filed. And this is under the behavioral stability section. For those reasons, Your Honor, we are asking you to consider giving Mr. Shepherd one chance on pretrial services supervision. But if you're not inclined, we ask that the bond be not more than, well, something significantly lower than the $50,000 that the state is asking. Thank you.
Your Honor, I would just note, if there's indication of Title 36, then even mental health providers are considering him a danger to self and others. In addition to that, the miles per hour 1 second before the collision is 82. So I would imagine he was probably going triple digits in a 35, and this victim is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. So that's why the state is recommending the high bond, even though he doesn't necessarily have a concerning criminal history.
All right, so for the record, and I'm not arguing about the facts, but I just want to make it clear how I interpret them. It looks like he was driving 82 miles an hour before he hit his brakes, a second before he hit his brakes, not a second before the collision. So I don't have any reason to believe he was going more than 82 miles an hour. That is what he's charged with is reckless, and I understand that he caused grave injury to someone, and this is a very serious offense. I also understand, though, that this is not a offense that includes any premeditation or intent to hurt anyone, and that he has no felony criminal history. He is the lowest possible risk on the failure to appear score and almost the lowest possible risk on the new criminal activity score. He does not have an NVCA flag. From what I can tell, he's got no pending charges, no prior convictions, misdemeanor or felony, no failure to appear history. He is employed. I am required to set release conditions in the least onerous conditions possible that will assure his appearance in court and protect the community. Based on his risk assessment, I do think it's appropriate to release him to pretrial services. So, sir, I am going to do that. I am ordering that you are not to have any alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to all monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. I'm also ordering that you do not drive a vehicle unless you have a valid driver's license. If MVD suspends or revokes your license and you drive anyway, you will be in violation of your release conditions and you can be held on this case until it's resolved. Your next court date, sir, is November 19th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, that court date may change. Please stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services so that you know when your court dates are. If you miss court, you will get a warrant. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates, sir?
No.
All right, good luck, sir. Sit down. Hi, sir. What's your full name?
Tayo, Manuel Soto.
All right, sir, you're here on a couple different things. First of all, you have new criminal charges of unlawful possession of a dangerous drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you. Pretrial services tells me you are in the highest risk category possible for nonviolent felony offenses. The state's asking for a $1,000 bond. Just so defense counsel, so you know, I'm about to see him on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 city court cases with significant failure to appear history. So that is going to affect my decision. Go ahead, defense counsel.
Your Honor, I just want to start out by noting for the record that there is no probable cause on the paraphernalia count. I don't see any paraphernalia identified in the interim complaint. Your Honor, as to release conditions, I understand the court has concerns about his history. For those reasons, we just asked the court to set an offer.
All right, so for the record, I did find that there's no probable cause on the paraphernalia charge. There's probable cause on the dangerous drug charge, though. And I am going to set bond in the amount of $1,000 secured. Sir, if you post that bond, you're released to pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, and submit to any monitoring or treatment that's directed by pretrial services. Your next court date on this one, well, I'm going to give you 2 court dates. So I'm setting a preliminary hearing on November 12th at 1:30 in the afternoon. But I'm also setting a smart court hearing on November 6th at 9 a.m. Sir, Smart Court is a program where they offer you an opportunity to do outpatient treatment in exchange for a better resolution. You may get a better plea offer, or you may even get an opportunity to earn a dismissal by doing diversion if you qualify. Sir, the way that works, though, is if you miss your next court date on that case, you lose the opportunity to do smart court, they'll indict you and treat it like any other felony offense. So, sir, you need to appear in Pima County Superior Court on November 6th at 9 a.m. And then after that, you may or may not need to appear on November 12th. Make sure you stay in touch with your attorney and pretrial so you know when your court dates are and you don't miss any of them. If you do miss court, you will get a warrant. All right, then in Tucson City Court, here on new charges of criminal trespass, possession of drug paraphernalia, criminal trespass, and refusing to provide your name to law enforcement. You're here on warrants for disorderly conduct, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear, criminal trespass, being in a park after hours, failure to appear, possession of drug paraphernalia, 2 more counts of failure to appear, obstructing a highway or public thoroughfare, 2 more counts of failure to appear, shoplifting, failure to appear, criminal trespass, possession of drug paraphernalia, refusal to provide your name to law enforcement, shoplifting, possession of drug paraphernalia, and failure to appear. On those cases, sir, I'm going to enter a not guilty plea for you. You have the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the city PD's public defender's office to represent you. You have the right to be present at all future hearings. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue. You could be charged with failure to appear as a new criminal offense. In addition, you could be tried and convicted in your absence. And if you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days because of your failure to appear, you could lose your right to appeal. On those cases, I'm setting bond in the amount of $500 secured. I'm ordering that you do not go back to the incident location and follow all release conditions previously set. Your next court date on that, if you're in custody, is going to be November 8th at 1:45 in the afternoon, and you'll be seen by video. If you're out of custody, that court date changes to December 3rd at 9:30 in the morning. That's at Tucson City Court, and that's with me. I'm Judge Surio. You must appear for that hearing or I will issue a warrant, sir. Do you have any questions about your release conditions or your court dates?
Rafael, fine. Do you have any questions?
All right, he shook his head no for the record. Thank you very much. Good luck, sir. I believe that is our entire evening calendar. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good night. Thank you, Peter.
Have a good night, Samir.